Hi guys, Coach Lou here. I hope you're all having an absolute fabulous day. Hope you've been training if you're getting into training. Hope your food is going well, and it's been lovely catching up with so many of you over the last week or so. This video is going to be this mainly for the ladies, but it's going to apply to the guys as well. But this video is going to be about some gym myths uncovered, and what I mean by that is I get a lot of women saying, oh, what about this, what about that, I've heard this, I've heard that, and I just want to try and just get rid of some of these myths for you. Every time I come live, things pop up on my screen. Okay, so one of the first things, if you are female, weightlifting will not make you bulky. Eating crap will make you bulky. Or as there's a few posts I share where it says cupcakes make you bulky. You don't have the hormones in you to get big and muscly. It takes an awful lot of work to get to that state, and you can't get there just as just normally in normal training. You don't have enough testosterone, you don't have enough growth hormone to get in that state. So if you're fearing going to the gym and lifting up weights, don't be. You're not going to turn into He-Man, I promise. And trust me, if you do, please contact me and tell me how you did it, because I train in the gym 5 days a week and I most definitely don't look like that. So don't be scared of that. When it comes to training, especially when you're on weights, just weight is important. So there's this kind of balance. You should be pushing yourself, and the weight should be to a point that it's difficult for you, but muscle tension is more important. And what I mean by that is sometimes I get women coming in, and to begin with, they're scared of the bar. Then they get really into it, but they flip and they think it's all about the weight. And it needs to be a challenge to you, but it needs to not be a challenge so much so that you're too busy, fighting with the weight that you forgot all about the muscle tension. And what I mean by that is really feeling the movement and letting that muscle feel all the movement so that muscle can, can work and can change the way it should. And it's changing technique that do that. So at the moment, a few of my ladies have been working with me for quite a while now, and I've came in after Christmas and said, right, now you're ready for the next stage, we're going to start working more on this muscle tension. And they have realised how much they're having to drop their weight, because when they actually change that technique and really start working on the muscles, how much harder they're having to work. So you got to get that balance. But remember that muscle tension is more important than weight, but you must have a decent amount of weight to be able to make it hard work enough for yourself. But it doesn't have to be so heavy that you're fighting it, unbelievably for the first rep. And what I will say as well is there's a massive difference, and this is how it might be best for you to understand. There's a massive difference from someone, for example, who would maybe train in physique to someone who would train in like powerlifting. One of them is about how the muscle and the body looks. The other one is about strength. So if you're concentrating on getting the weight up, getting the weight up, getting the weight up, your body will change, but it's not going to probably change as well as that person next to you who's working their ass off and getting that muscle tension and, really working on their nutrition along with it. And getting, every aspect of that movement correct so that that muscle is getting contracted at all the right times. They're going to have a completely different body type. So just remember that if you're pushing heavy weights all the time and that's all you're doing and you're losing that kind of muscle tension, that you're going to get different results to that person who is really working on the muscle tension. But please remember that also just lifting little dinky weights and going up and down and this is great, that's not going to get you anywhere either. It's got to be tough. It should be tough from those first few reps. If you're on your second and third set, you shouldn't still be going nice and easy. But if you have got that muscle under pressure and you're pressing the tension on that and you're gradually increasing your weights and enough that both are working, you're going to get amazing results. So just make sure that you don't go from being scared of the weight and not doing anything, not going anywhere, and then maybe letting ego take over and pushing lots and lots of weight up and things still not going as far as you want because you're not getting into the full range of the movement and you're not getting that muscle tension. Now the other thing is as well, just because something's really difficult doesn't always mean it's the best exercise either. I sometimes find that something's really difficult, so people assume that that's the one that's getting them all results. Not necessarily. It could just be that that's a hard body part for you. That's a pretty simple, quick one. But yeah, don't just go and do all the difficult exercises all the time. Do the ones that are, you know, grasping the muscles under tension and getting you the results that you want. Being hot and sweaty. So yeah, so this is definitely for the cardio queens out there who are really into, you know, the cardio and, you know, really like hitting it hard. Just because you're hot and sweaty doesn't mean you're going to get the best results. When you're weight training, yeah, sometimes you will be pouring of sweat because sometimes it's difficult. But sometimes, although you're working really hard and you may be grunting through those sets, you might not be hot and sweaty at the end of it. That doesn't mean that you're not going to get amazing results. It's just a different type of training. And sometimes I feel people are, you know, if they're not hot and sweaty at the end of a workout, they're like, oh, I haven't had a good enough workout. But maybe they can't pick up a bar, you know, they couldn't physically push the bar up again. Well, that tells me you have been working hard enough. So make sure you got that balance. But also, you shouldn't be at that stage where you know, you can go another 10 rounds. If you can go another 10 rounds of pushing something, you haven't been working hard enough. But get that balance between the two. So these are all kind of things that are always kind of contradictory, and people will be coming and say, oh, but and rest in between sets is just as important as the sets itself as well, guys. So going straight into one another because you're trying to achieve that absolutely knackered, sweaty mess of a self is not always a good thing. Your muscles need that breathing space so that when you go on to the next exercise that you can really push at it and really go for it. So make sure you're getting that distance in between sets, depending on the kind of training you're doing. So I can't really give you advice on that right now because it depends on the training you're doing as to how long you're going to have in between sets, where it's 30 seconds to a minute, 45 seconds. It depends on that training. So hopefully that's cleared some stuff up within the gym. Another myth, generally it comes from ladies, is that, you know, you can't train in the gym when guys are training because they're going to watch you. 9 times out of 10, the guys aren't paying attention, and sometimes they might actually just come and help you. And what you got to remember, and I'm not saying there isn't gyms where maybe that happens. I know our gym, it doesn't happen at all. But, you know, sometimes you've got to remember that that's just your perception, maybe your discrimination of, oh, those men are automatically judging me for being in the gym. Maybe they're actually thinking, oh wow, well done to her. And sometimes they might even come and help you. So don't not take yourself to a gym because you're worried that there's going to be guys there training, especially if they're big guys. For some reason, everyone's always a bit wary of big guys. I train among big guys all the time. I have done, even before I got back into coaching. You know, since I was 16, I used to train among big guys, and I have to say, I have never had any problems with guys. I've never been made feel uncomfortable at the point I haven't wanted to come back to the gym. So just remember that that is your perception, and you can always say something. But if they're intimidating you and they've not actually done anything, that's your thought process, and maybe something you need to sort. So get yourself in and stop making yourself excuses. When it comes to food, yeah, your diet, you know, your diet most definitely has to match your training. And the saying goes that, you know, you can't out-train a bad diet, guys. If you're still eating rubbish, you're either going to get no results or very slow results and start getting very frustrated, and that's usually when people start to fall off the wagon. But there's a few things with women I want you to remind you of. First of all, carbs are not the enemy, or clean carbs are not the enemy. Processed carbs, yeah, because your body doesn't need them, and it's those kind of carbs that tend to give you the body fat in those areas, like your back, the backs of your arms, around your hips, that you don't want. Clean carbs are not the enemy. However, they do need to be cycled at specific times, especially on those days where you're training, for them to work efficiently. So if you're carbing up all the time, then yeah, it's going to maybe cause a bit of a problem, but they're not the enemy. And that's usually when you need to get a bit of advice on when's the best time to eat them and when you shouldn't be eating them. And there's all different kind of nutrition plans out there. But I just want to get across to women that, you know, especially at this time of year, you've maybe you've ate a lot, and the first thing people want to do is, I'm just going to cut everything out. Yeah, cut all the crap out. Cut the chocolate, cut the wine, cut the beers, cut the chips, cut the pizzas, cut the wraps, all these kind of processed things. Cut them out, but you don't need to cut clean carbs out. If anything, sometimes if you take them out completely and you do it for too long, your body is one, either going to get too used to it and you're just going to stop getting results, or two, you might actually find that you're burning more than you're eating, and you're going to start going into those important muscle cells and not your fat cells. And that is sometimes where we get the skinny fat look, where you may be quite small but nothing is toned. That is always, you know, nutritionally based and training based. So don't be scared of them. Get yourself someone who knows, you know, an efficient way of working with them. For example, at the moment, I'm in the best shape I've been in a very long time, and I'm having quite a lot of carbs, but I'm having them cycled at the correct times on the correct days that I need them. So just don't be scared of them. Go and research it, or get yourself a coach, get yourself some info out there. I think that was the kind of main things that I've been kind of coming up against this week. But yeah, I suppose when we're talking about nutrition, not eating, guys, is as bad as overeating. You're just abusing your body in a different way, and that's something I want to get across. If you are someone who binge eats and overeats, remember that you are abusing your body and you are doing your body harm. And if your body's getting bigger and bigger, there's the warning sign. If you're someone who is naturally slimmer and you don't gain weight, but you are, you know, a binge eater and you emotionally eat, just remember that you maybe can't see it on the outside, and sometimes it's more worrying for those slimmer people who are like that, because they don't have the warning signs on the outside. Those of us who gain weight a bit easier, we've got the warning sign, you know, oh, I'm beginning to gain a bit of body fat, my body's telling me to watch what I'm doing. When you're a bit slimmer, you don't have those warning signs, and you don't know what's happening in here. So be careful of that. And, you know, if you are one of those people, I always try and say, listen, go and try and do something to change these habits, but, you know, before it's too late. But those of you who don't eat enough, you're doing as much damage as what the overeater is, just in a different way. Your body will start to go, your body's clever. We actually talked about this at a seminar the weekend, and, you know, your body is very clever. And if you don't feed your body's just going to go into its own overdrive. It's going to go into that kind of starvation mode, and it's going to start eating away at that muscle and keeping that body fat, because the body wants to keep the body fat, wants you to be that frame that you were supposed to be in. So not eating is, you know, it's one of the worst things you can do if you're looking to change the shape of your body, because it will either not work because you'll starve yourself, and you'll get to a point where you're so hungry you will just go and eat everything in sight, and you've ruined the whole day. Or, as I say, you're going to eat so little that your body's going to start eating into that muscle, and you're going to create that skinny fat look, where I have this a lot. I have women coming to me, and they've maybe only done the nutritional side of things, and it's been slightly different to what maybe I would have recommended. And they'll say, I've got all this skin hanging and I've lost all this weight, but I feel like I look as bad as I did when I was heavier. And what I always say to them is, well, because you need to eat to burn. You've basically burned all the muscle, and yeah, there's still muscle there, but you've burned all the muscle, and your body has held on to this body fat that's still there because it, you know, it needs to keep it. It's resourceful. And, you know, you've maybe overdone it on the CV side of things, and you've created, yeah, you've lost weight on the scales, but you've not necessarily lost the body fat, and you've actually lost the muscle that you could have done with holding on to get to your goal. So just remember the balance between those two things. And yeah, when you listen to this video, like all the do's and don'ts and all the kind of contradictions, that, yeah, you know, transforming your body can be a bit daunting in the beginning, because you think, oh, what's right and what's wrong? But you know what? See, when you get into it, it's easy. You just got to remember those basic concepts. So when it comes to transforming your body, nutrition and exercise got to come together. You can't out-train that bad diet. You might as well just not bother training. If you're not eating enough, again, in your training, you're going to get that counterproductive effect. If you're overeating, you know, you got to look at how finding those new habits. You don't need to be scared of those carbs. Just eat them at the correct times. When you're training, just be mindful of the weight and the muscle tension. Be mindful if you're doing too much CV-based stuff. And, you know, put it all together, and you know, once you know what you're doing, it's such an easy thing to do, but you got to have the will to do it. Remember that as well. So it was just a quick check-in, just of a few things. Oh, I can hear little feet coming up to get me. Just little things that have kind of came across and have been coming up again, because it's that time of year and everyone's kind of looking to get in shape and stuff. So if you are looking, you know, to get yourself organised and get yourself in shape, you've got some ideas of what you're looking for. And here's Lawson, come and say hello. Come on then. A minute. Say hi. Oh, he's tired. He's just finished nursery, haven't you? So that is my cue to finish. Hopefully that's kind of uncovered some gym myths. If there are any other ones that you can think of, pop them below the video. I'm more than happy to pop back up and do another video on it, but I thought it was maybe a good one for those of you who are maybe feeling a bit apprehensive or unsure about what's better. And any questions in general, any videos you want me to pop up, pop it on here and I will get them up at some point. There will be a video. I posted a picture of my dish at the weekend and quite a lot of people had said yes, they want to know how to make it, so there will be a video later on, probably the weekend, showing you how to make that dish as well. So some gym myths uncovered. Get training, get eating clean. See you on the other side, guys.